Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a best of 5 series of top level StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Terran vs Zerg that I've heard is an absolute banger. Now I've also heard that this series is ridiculously long, so I hope you got yourself a drink because we're starting off right here in the upper right hand corner in game number 1, looking inside of the main base of the Zerg, who goes by the name of Solar. It's very sunny outside right now, actually, where I'm from, so Solar, definitely an appropriate username. His opponent in the bottom left, already revealing himself in the in-game chat. We have none other than ByuN. Bad luck, don't have fun, says Solar. Alright, you'll have to see it. Little bit of... yeah, I wanna call this like bottom tier trash talk, right? Really, this is just friends having some fun here. Is ByuN going to say anything back? No, we just let that one slide. Fair enough. Personally, for what it's worth, I got myself a very large water bottle here, which I think I'm going to need, man. It has been ridiculously warm over the last couple of days here. Either way, we're going to be watching some nice StarCraft 2, as two of the very best players on the planet are facing off against each other. This is from a recent Wardy tournament, where the players are competing for the lion's share of $1,000. So certainly that means they will be bringing their A game. It is always nice to see players face off against each other for more money than what we usually have in the smaller weekly cups. Looks like we're going to be fast expanding though on both sides of the map for now. Reaper for some reason is rallied into the mineral line. Not entirely sure why. I guess he's going to be resetting that one across the map here momentarily. Hatchery into a gas geyser and a spawning pool here for Solar, so not messing around with any proxy hatcheries. Likewise, no double barracks right over here on the front either for the Terran. This is a very conventional start. It's kind of ironic, because this is how the majority of the games of Zerg versus Terran have opened up over the last few years. But lately, the players have really been throwing a lot of curveballs, and while this is starting off normally, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we're going to be seeing a little bit of spice a little bit later on in this particular series. Solar did actually pull out of gas here before starting up the Zergling speed, however. He decided to go for the third base. So he was sitting at 100 gas there for a little bit, and now he finally fires up the metabolic boost. The idea is, of course, that he gets that third base running before the Reaper can deny it. Triple command center in the meantime. We have an extra one inside of the main base. And then we'll probably see the starport here in a moment. Factory is going to be getting the little reactor here from the barracks. And ByuN can start pumping out those Hellions 2 at a time. Yep, there's the starport. And we'll probably see then the barracks being used to add on a little tech lab here. And ultimately, yeah, this is a barracks who just gets to fly around and serve the other Terran structures for a while. Once upon a time, he was the most important, making a Reaper, making a Marine. But right now, he's turned into a bit of a servant. It's okay. It's alright. It's a respectful job. Actually, we get to make another Marine here instead. A little bit funky. Are we opening up with a Liberator, ByuN? Back in the day, people even used to start off with a Viking. ByuN is a fan of mixing up these... yeah, we're going Liberator. Mixing up these early game exchanges a bit. I always find the Liberator start a little bit questionable. It's one of those threats. So the Banshee, I think, in almost every scenario is better. Right? Like, if you draw the numbers, if you run them, Banshee is just superior. But sometimes opening up with a little bit of variety is smart as well. This will likely still force out some Spore Crawler production if Solar looks inside of the main base here of the Terran in just a moment. And looks to me like he is going to, at the very least, give it a shot, although this Overlord is too late. Normal timing would be right about right now, like between like 350, 4 minutes or so is usually when you want to be committing with your Overlord Scout if you're actually going to fly it in. So Solar decides to leave it in the back. Ah, and we have a quick stim pack on the back of this instead. What is this? What are we going to do with the lib? Okay. Yeah, it used to be more common. Like, I remember the days that Clem used to open up with a Liberator almost every game. And he would send it out and kill a bunch of drones and then send the Liberator back home to repair, and then he would send it out yet again. Spore Crawlers, though, are already being set up in aggressive positions. You can tell here that Solar is specifically trying to counter Liberators with the way that he's positioning it, because normally against a Banshee opener, you would put it in the middle of the mineral line just because of the cloaking field. Overlord Scout moves in. I don't like this Overlord Scout timing. I don't think it tells you anything, unless the Terran makes a mistake. But here we go. Hellions now do commit. There aren't enough links out just yet. Solar a little bit worried. He doesn't want to pull the drones away too far. Liberator, in the meantime, does siege up over in the natural expansion. The Queen is going to step within that circle. Ooh, careful with the links. Okay, he's going to dance for a little bit longer. Yeah, well, it's very bloody and maybe a little bit messy. This is not a good start here for ByuN. He's just made a lot of units and did very little with it. Got a feeling we're going to see a few more of them die before too long. Are we going to try and commit? Nah, ByuN dove way too deep. This is, by the way, the reason, right, why Zerg players really enjoy putting their Evo chambers as part of a wall-off like this. It doesn't look like a big deal, but just having the units go all the way around then allows the Queens to get into position a lot better. Fourth hatchery here will go up unscouted. And Solar, interestingly enough, is going missile together with Carapace. So we didn't open up with a Roach Warren, but we're still going +1 missile anyways, and that'll be for the Hydralisks. Normally we see +1 melee with an opener like this. So I guess that means we're not going to be going Ultras, and maybe we want to be transitioning to some Lurker play a little bit sooner instead? We'll have to find out. Obviously, though, ByuN did go for a fast third base of his own, so despite the fact that he really hasn't done a lot of damage on the other side of the map, I mean, he got a Queen kill, that's pretty good. He did get a lot of Zerglings down as well. He still is fine, economically speaking. You just have to be careful here as Terran that you don't just lose the mid-game. Zerg can explode in supply really quickly at this stage. We see drones and army being made simultaneously as ByuN is going to try and lay down another attack. The goal for this push is to try and deny the 5th. It's a pretty greedy 5th base, I will say. At this point, Solar doesn't see it, although he's running links in the right direction. Whoa. Yeah, okay, he sees them now. He sees it now. That's a big scout. Gonna give him a little bit of time to move the Queens on over in this direction. The Zerglings already setting themselves up for a surround as well, it seems. This is a good spot, though, for a tank. +1/+1, together with Grooved Spines, just about done. Combat Shields and +1 infantry attacks also done. So despite the fact we've had wildly different builds here from both players, the upgrades are still, well, within seconds of one another. Looks like we have another big attack here from the Terran player. No 4th command center yet, although we did get the 2nd factory going. I'm assuming the 4th CC will be fired up here momentarily. A little bit of creep clearing as well in the middle of the map. Hatchery up north gets a bit of damage on itself, but yeah. Good defense here for Solar thus far. 2-2 gets fired up. Where's the 4th CC, ByuN? We need a 4th command... Ah, there it is. Right as I clicked away. We need a 4th command center really badly at this stage, otherwise you just lose over time. Hydras, though, by themselves. Keep in mind that we did not open up Banelings, right? So, while Banelings are on the horizon right now, yeah, if it's just pure Hydra, maybe you can't actually finish the job. Dude, you just have to sneeze on the hatch. Just sneeze on it, ByuN. Oh, no. Look at the slow Banelings waddling forward as well. It's kind of ugly, right? This is what happens when the players get too good, man. They decide to get creative just for creativity's sake. I think ByuN is still going to be able to get it anyways. Bane speed, though, is now done. Centrifugal hooks. Here's a little hit squad of Marines. Hellbats in the front. Those are the Hellions from earlier. Yeah, I think ByuN is still going to be able to push this away. The Zerg army, that is. And then maybe finish off the hatch. I mean, I say that. Zerg units are popping out of their cocoons now. Yeah, the Terran army is running out of steam. Siege tank in the back having a grand old time. Blasting so many units. There we go. It ultimately gets destroyed as well. And as the dust settles, Solar keeps the base around. Wouldn't be surprised to see another hatchery start up as well in just a moment. Looks like the previous good old siege tank, though, has apparently been replaced. Hive is going to be done soon. Lurker Den, not yet available. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a little bit of a transfusion going on onto that hatch. I think it's also important actually for Solar to not get married to this like pretty much dead hatchery, right? We see that sometimes where players get a little bit too carried away to try to protect the base that is extremely low. So far though, he's not really getting the job done here, Terran that is. It seems like the hatchery will live for now. Positionally, this is an important base. It's not just the outer expansion for now, but it also leads to the expansion right over here and then the one in the upper left. +3 armor coming up. Just in case you were wondering if this is truly ByuN. Yes, it is. ByuN always loves starting up the armor upgrade before attack, even though it's technically inferior. He's been doing this for many years. Viper is going to be added into the mix as well. Blinding Cloud, just a single one, can be an absolute game changer. As ByuN is going in for a new plan of attack. He wants to still snipe this hatchery, man. Likewise, I think ByuN needs to not get too carried away, just trying to kill a base that is going to be difficult to get done. Okay, he does end up picking up in time. Terran push in the middle of the map. We have Adrenal Glands, we have a Lurker Den, we have a lot of stuff coming up. There is a Blinding Cloud available right now too. That means abductions will also be in the cards here for the Zerg player. Doesn't look like he needs it over here though. Nope. And while on the PTR of the new StarCraft 2 balance patch, you can abduct sieged up tanks again. Not going to be available yet in this particular game. This is played on the live version of SC2. Almost dash within range right there of the Medivacs. Yeah, and so far, while ByuN is getting damage done, I'm liking all of this better for Solar. While ByuN is pushing deep and he's committing, he's just not really getting the job done that he's hoping to get done. Blinding Cloud, beautiful. That's all the siege tanks disabled. And I think it's about time we go back to the drawing board soon. Lurkers will be available before too long. Seismic Spines is already done. Just like 1 or 2 lurkers. Just about 8 lurkers. It's also plenty to get rid of this Terran attack once and for all. Nidus Network on the back of this as well. Beautiful gameplay here by Solar, it has to be said. Like, he's defending very, very narrowly, but that's all you truly need here as a Zerg. All he wants to do is stay alive. And even though it's maybe been a little bit closer than he would have liked. Huh. Oh, what about this little push? This little push actually achieves about as much as all the previous attacks combined. At the very least, it killed a hatch. Okay. ByuN finally gets a little point right there on the board. All right, new command centers have been added into the mix. 3-3 is going to be done very soon. We could be adding on a second starport, a Ghost Academy, something along those lines really quickly. Sometimes ByuN, though, I've mentioned as many... Oh, he already has a Ghost Academy. Okay, I missed it. He already did build one. Sometimes ByuN gets a little carried away and he just does not transition into anything else. He just sort of sticks around on mess, Marine Marauder Medevac instead, but not this time around. Where did those lurkers go? That's the question. Where are they? Ah, they're inside of the network. Nidus in the main will probably be one of the goals. Planetary Fortress here is going to lift off and get on out of there. There is a secondary drop yet again. This hatchery from earlier still stays alive as the Marines get all army hotkeyed. Nidus Worm gets planted down right over here. Parasitic bombs as well in the middle of the map. Ghosts are somehow stuck. Looks like we have one SCV there nibbling away at the Nidus Worm for just a moment. Not going to happen. Okay, are we just going to unload the lurkers? Kind of risky now. Yeah, I kind of agree with not doing that. Just having a bunch of lurkers exposed by themselves. It's very, very... It's tempting here as the Zerg to still just hit the unload button, but I don't think it would be the right decision. The one thing that Solar is kind of missing out on right now is... Okay, there we go. Thank you for noticing. The +3/+3 research. Third factory starts up. We have a Nidus Worm in the back of the natural expansion now. And while it's been ByuN on the offensive for like the first half of this game, Solar has decided to take matters into his own hands now. Siege tank does siege up, but I don't think it's quite in time. One Marauder available. Is Solar paying attention? He is paying attention. Keep in mind the lurkers provide vision as well for more lurkers to potentially come in through the network. And this is just so incredibly annoying for the Terran to clean up. It's very doable to trade cost efficiently there as the Terran, but it's just so hard APM-wise to dedicate the attention to it. It means that you're going to be dropping the ball elsewhere, but it seems that so far at least, ByuN is defending everything quite well. The problem now for the Terran, though, is that he's, in a weird way, contained on just 4 bases. Yeah. He's got all these command centers, but he's unable to really fly them to a location that he can actually mine. It's not a problem yet, but in like 5 minutes, if he does not secure a base, he's going to fizzle out real quick. In the meantime, Solar has not slowed down. He's taken the upper left, he's taken the far bottom right. This is where those Zerg players are so scary. Not only is he dealing so much damage on the other side of the map, he's also in the meantime gobbling all of the bases up. And he's spreading a ton of creep around too. 3-3 now. Added into the mix, of course, like I mentioned earlier. We're gonna have to get the +3 missile too. Wouldn't even mind seeing a 3rd evolution chamber. Would have been nice a few minutes ago. Okay, blinding cloud yet again. EMP onto the Viper, but not quite in time. Still though, the Zerg army is looking reasonably small. No planetary here in the middle, but no problem for now. The Sim City is good enough for ByuN to survive here with just an orbital command. We're going Mass Liberator, Mass Ghost, and then a whole lot of tanks. High-sec auto tracking, building armor. Those are the luxury late-game Terran upgrades. So we see that both players really are stepping their foot on the gas now. Solar at apparently an average APM in this game of 555. This is his first-person view. He's moving pretty quickly. You can see his selections in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. So much movement all at the same time. Likewise here, this is ByuN. ByuN putting out many fires all at the same time. It's one of the tricky things. Notice how he's re-rallying to the main base there for a moment, just to try and get rid of the units inside of the main. Obviously, though, that's only something that works if you have supply available. EMPs right there onto the Overseers. That's kind of cute. Banelings do manage to connect right now with some of the units. Siege tanks here do get overwhelmed. Looks like the command center lives for now. He would like to land that one and morph it into a planetary fortress. I'm going to be taking control of the camera again before anybody pukes their guts out. All right, it's going to be Infestors on the back of this. The next step in the Solar master plan. One of my concerns now, though, for ByuN, if this game does go the distance, is the corner bases. He needs one of the two. He doesn't need both, but he does need one of the two. And look at Solar here. Solar is already taking another base that normally belongs to the Terran, while then simultaneously denying these expansions that also belong to the Terran. Ultimately here, the win condition for ByuN, assuming the game goes on for a really long time... Oh, fungal? Fungal potential, fungal potential! Oh, he noticed it. That was really risky. Okay. Well, you know what? He ended up getting punished pretty hard there. The win condition for ByuN is to mine half the map. He trades more cost efficiently than the Zerg does. So if he can mine half the map, that works for him. But look at the minimap now. Look at the minimap. Solar is at 96 drones, and he's sending in wave after wave after wave of Zerg. And this really feels absolutely relentless. What do you do here as the Terran player? You have all the economy that you really want at the moment. You have all of the upgrades that you need. You have all of the production that you want. But what do you do against this Zerg? He's rich, but the Zerg is richer. Now, of course, this is a unit composition where Solar is really just throwing stuff at the wall, and he hopes that it sticks. So Solar doesn't really have a bank built up. Yep. Every time he's got a bit of money, like he's living paycheck to paycheck while making like 100,000 a month. You know what I mean? Like how is that even possible, Solar? How are we... Should we not save up a little bit? He apparently strongly disagrees with that notion. He needs to drive multiple Lamborghinis, I guess. So let's... I don't know. I don't know what that level of money is like, okay? But that's what I imagine. Anyways, ooh, another EMP onto the Viper is good. Look at the siege tank line, though. Look at the siege tank line. Those Banelings, okay, they do not get within range of the tanks. Planetary Fortress instead gets blown to pieces. Nidus Worm in the back of the main base, but there's already a tank over there, too. This is all ridiculously cost ineffective, though, for Zerg. Look at this. We're at like 10,000 minerals more than the Terran player has lost. That's a lot. Add a little bit more to it with that Infestor going down. These Nidus Worms are not free. As the Terran, though, is now finally making a path out on the map, Zerg is counter-attacking instead, not willing to face off against that big chunk of the Terran army, but engaging here in the middle and instead. It does come at the cost of a hatchery here, so that's something. But... honestly, the main advantage here is that now the mineral line is going to be alive for a little bit longer. ByuN needs this base, he needs this base, and he needs the one in the bottom right for the map to be even. I would actually really love to see Solar transfer drones from one of the easy-to-mine bases to the one over here. Because once these minerals are gone, I mean, it's finite. They're not going to be returned. Those mineral fields do not regenerate, right? So I think if the win condition here is indeed going to take a while, Obviously, that's not what he wants, but I do believe it would be better. Yeah, he's doing it right now, I think. Maybe not from that base. Maybe it's another expansion instead. Anyhow, I think moving your drones forward, and then maybe even putting a Nidus Worm here so you can evacuate them quickly if you need to, is indeed the right call. That's something Sarah has been doing consistently in his late games. Either way, don't count ByuN out yet. ByuN still has a lot of production. And really, like, the big infrastructure that Terran really needs is done. He doesn't really need more. He could add on another couple of orbital commands, but he doesn't need more factories, barracks, starports, and all the rest of it. He's built all of the stuff. Loads of SCVs are dying, though. Lurkers get right over here at the bottom. Phenomenal game of StarCraft here. Like, this is only map number 1 in a best of 5, but this is a beauty. Now we're getting to the stage where ByuN is broke. Weirdly enough, the man has 6 orbital commands. He's had quite a few mining bases, but he is broke. 135 supply is going to be pretty much the cap for now. In the meantime, we have some min-ranging here going on, where the siege tanks can actually shoot, but not when you hug them. They don't like hugging, man. They have a little bit of a min-range. Yeah, and while Solar isn't rich either, at least not for Zerg late-game standards, he's in such a good position right now. Okay. Zerglings try to slip through the cracks here. Hydras also do get in. And again, it's not cost-effective, but I think it's good enough for Solar. Okay, this is ByuN's Hail Mary right here. He needs to get this base up, and he needs to get it up soon. Solar can choose to engage this or to go for the counter. The natural and the main will be reasonably wide open. There's a lot of exposed siege tanks. Nidus Worm instead is going to be used for that to create a bit of a distraction yet again. Solar does push through right over here. He doesn't have enough gas. Yeah, the gas limitation here is now noticeable. He's also starting to oversaturate some of those bases. Not really paying attention to them as much. He's basically hoping that he can just win this series within the next minute or so, or win this game at the very least within the next minute or so. But ByuN is not dead yet. No planetary? Oh, yeah. ByuN, he obviously feels the heat here. But an orbital command this exposed in the middle of the map, when you're surrounded by creep, seems kind of insane. Anyways, now the Zerg is going in for the Zergling flood. And that means that those tanks will likely all die. That's expensive, man. That's the backbone of ByuN's defense. Okay. Hatchery in the far bottom right. Retaken once more. Terran steps on creep for just a moment. Brilliant performance here by Solar. I feel like Solar is one of those Zergs, man, who oftentimes gets overshadowed. Everybody's always talking about, well, the European Zergs, and they're always talking about, like, the Rogue, and lately Shin has been, or Ragnarok, I guess, he's been taking the spotlight, but Solar has always been one of the absolute best. And he's showing us why he needs to be taken into consideration for these discussions. Who's the best Zerg player in the world? Well, Solar on a good day looks pretty much unbeatable, man. Looks to me like he's having a good day. It's bloody, though, like I will say. Yeah, look, my interface is glitching out. The unit's lost tab was never made with the intention of 4 digits worth of Zerglings dying. It's a lot. We go into, okay, a little bit of longevity here. Solar is giving up a bit of map freedom here, it seems, as he's going into Brute Lore tech. I don't know if he needs it. I think he's about to close the game out, but he is at the very least preparing for a long, drawn-out game and a more cost-effective army, if that's what he ultimately needs. Siege tanks do get saved right there by the medevac. Some drones indeed ended up going down. ByuN is sneakily mining out these mineral fields. Okay, well, you know what? Mules are pretty good, but it's not gonna be good enough. GG. So next up, we find ourselves on Ruby Rock, and we start off with Solar saying GLHF. ByuN tells him to shut up. Solar says thanks. And then ByuN says sub... tilde? Or what is that? Grave? I never know the name of that button. Alright, anyways. Game number 2. Apparently we're going to go into a good old double rec start. He's actually right. I agree. Everybody watching this should sub. Maybe that's what ByuN is talking about, man. ByuN knows. Everybody subscribes to Lowko. Shout out to ByuN for reminding the people. I almost forgot my job right there for a little bit, ByuN. Thank you for putting me back in my place. Or maybe he's saying you need to sub to ByuN. Anyways, just hit whatever button says... hit whatever button says subscribe. As Solar is dancing the Overlord. Oh no, ByuN definitely noticed. It's so funny, man. Like, I feel like if I were to dance my Overlords in a game, the odds of my opponent seeing it are basically 0. But these guys always notice. Whenever there's any form of dancing going on, they do always notice. Apparently, ByuN has decided to start up the tea party. Well, gets a little Zergling kill out of it, so that is gotta be worth something. Not too bad. How many Reapers are we gonna produce? So this is ByuN's latest. Whenever he opens up with the double Rex. Yeah, he's been going 4 Reapers. So you used to go 3 Reapers, and then for a while, ByuN used to go 5 Reapers whenever he saw it was a quick third hatch. But now apparently we're going 4 Reapers, and I feel like the 4th Reaper really doesn't add anything. I mean, I don't want to be a jerk to this guy, but I feel like you add nothing. Yeah, sorry. You're just a wasted 50 minerals and 50 gas. Sorry, man. Maybe your parents didn't tell you, so I'll just have to spell it out for you, I suppose. But what are you going to add to this that the rest weren't already covering? I want to be believed. Oh, I want to be a believer, okay? I want to see what you add. Okay. Thank you for revealing yourself behind the Overlord. It's going to be a Roach Warren here really quickly for Solar, together with a Lair. Oh, well, if you can kill a Queen with it, that actually... Okay, you know what? Never mind. I was almost a believer. I almost believed. Triple Command Center opener here now for ByuN. So, we end up in a scenario now, and this is the really cool thing about these Reaper starts, where the Terran actually has a faster third base than the Zerg player has. So, normally this matchup is all about Terran trying to keep the Zerg economy down. Right now it's going to be the opposite, as Solar is going into Roach speed of all upgrades. Okay, fair enough. I mean, this is not too odd, but I'm a little bit afraid that Terran is... Oh! There you go! This is why you exist! You exist to kill Brenda. Congratulations, Brenda and Susan are both gone. We get a full scout here of the Zerg bases. That means that there's no Spire or anything along those lines. And while all the Reapers do die, it turns out you guys were useful in the end. I take it back. I take it back. That would have been difficult to do with just 3. Now, Solar did go for a hatchery eventually, and he did skip out Zergling speed. Normally, you do go for link speed with your first 100 gas. Evo chamber on the back of this as well, so I'm assuming we're going to go into the armor upgrade here first. Could be missile even, but what do we do with all of this, right? Like, what is now the plan with this Roach opener? Do we just make the Roaches defensively? He's got 1 Ravager coming here and a couple Roaches that will get Glio Reconstitution. I just don't think we're really going to be able to do much of an attack. So despite the fact that Solar decided to go for a super late third base, we're just going to try and drone it up right now. Terran should be fine though, economically speaking. Mules are really powerful. If you look at the income, it's been a little bit of, yeah, it's been a little all over the place. It comes down to when the mules are mining and when they aren't. So I'm assuming the next little update, yep, is going to tick in favor of the Terran yet again. Still though, Solar is using the larva mechanic here to just drone up this base as quickly as possible. It feels kind of bad as a Zerg player to be long distance mining this for such a long time. But apparently it's fine. I have no idea what they're talking about. I gotta get my my Korean Duolingo back up, apparently. Yeah, I know. They're having a good time, though. One thing to keep in mind, of course, is that while we do see a little bit of low-key trash talk between these guys, most of the top-tier guys do get along really well. It's just kind of what happens when you travel the world together for, you know, about a decade. And ultimately, yeah, you end up competing against one another, but you also share the same hotel. So you're probably going to get breakfast in the same place, right? Like, even though they are very fierce competitors, they do hang out quite a lot in IRL because of it. Even if they may not necessarily want to, they're forced into it. And it's kind of like school, you know? Like, you're forced to sit right next to somebody. Are you really gonna make them sit somewhere else at the hotel breakfast? No, you're not, right? No. So ultimately, most of the guys do tend to get along pretty well. And even though they are having a bit of a giggle sometimes, I do think you have to take the low-key trash talk that we do see from time to time. You have to take that with a grain of salt. They're just having fun. All right, it's gonna be a hive here really quickly, though. So this is not even 7 minutes into the game that this thing started up. We're actually gonna get this hive done at like 7:30. 7:30. Considering we went +1 armor first, I'm guessing we're gonna go into Ultralisks here. And this will be the quickest Ultralisk you can really reasonably get. Yeah, there's a third base now, but this started off, I guess, as 2 base Ultras. I mean, this would have been 2 base Ultras because he really couldn't have gotten it any quicker. Yep, there we go. 7:40 on the start of the Ultralisk Cavern. I think it's actually kind of cool as well sometimes to compare the pro games to like your average run-of-the-mill player. Sometimes you kind of forget how sharp build orders are at this level, despite the fact that Solar was thrown way off. We're 8 minutes in, Hive is done, upgrades are finishing, 4th base is also nearly fully saturated, despite the fact that this is a slow game for pro gaming standards. We're only 8 minutes in. I've been playing quite a bit of Age of Empires lately. If you're interested, you should probably check out the More Loco channel on Twitch, or on Twitch. No, not on Twitch. I mean, I have a More Loco channel as well on Twitch, but the More Loco channel on YouTube is where I've been posting some of the Age of Empires content. 8 minutes into an AoE game, AoE 2 specifically, nothing's really happened yet. No, it's a different game. The pacing is certainly not quite the same. Maybe reducing the worker count in StarCraft 2, you know, can slow the game down a little bit. No! Oh no! This is a disaster! Oh, that's a disaster. Oh, that is, well, I mean, combined with that many drone losses, that is pretty much GG. This is now such a big advantage for the Terran player. Yeah, no, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect here for ByuN. Supply-wise, of course, Zork is still fine. But now we're going to be seeing the Ultralisks come up. And they kind of feel like the final thing that ByuN can really, or Solar can really do something with. And ByuN scouts it perfectly. Oh, even the Ultra Cavern is in trouble. A couple of roaches do come in, though. Can we kill it? No, we can't quite kill it, so that's something. Look at the little hungry hippo Ultralisk Cavern over here. But yeah, this is a problem here for Solar. What do you do now? What do you do now, ByuN? You've got all the cards. You've got everything you ever needed. We have the final 3 barracks done. We have 2-2 finished. 4th command center flies on over. This is exactly what you want as a Terran player. Little gift over here in the tall grass. A little bit of a mini game here that the players like to play. Fair enough. Siege tanks are trying to tighten the noose. Now, ultimately, the Ultralisks are gonna buy a lot of time here for Solar. Oh, really? Oh, really? Ooh, careful. I mean, these are really beefy units. ByuN never fired up the +3 attack. He's actually trying, and this could be a problem for the Terran, I suppose. Such a big advantage for him, but he's kind of pushing here. Probably a little bit too aggressively. Like, if we're gonna fire up new command centers and a Ghost Academy, we should have already fired up 3-3 first. This should have taken priority for certain. The fact that ByuN is not, is kind of opening the door here for Solar to be fine again. Because Solar is still upgrading. And while he did just lose all of those infestors and a lot of drones, he's already rebuilt them really quickly. ByuN decides to celebrate with 4 command centers now. 5 command centers now. We had 4, we had 5. Can we get 6? Is anybody 6? Can we... Okay, +3. There we go, finally. We need like a StarCraft auctioneer whenever ByuN starts planting down command centers. Okay. So despite the fact that I really thought ByuN had game-winning and game-ending potential, I kind of feel like that door is closing. He's creating a literal minefield out here, though. He killed an hatchery yet again over here on the right. Parasitic bombs. Okay, parasitic bombs together with fungal growth. It's the StarCraft wombo combo, man. You gotta be careful. Another fungal would be nice. Fungal does deal a bit of damage. I think it could be the end of these 2 medevacs. I guess there was a... What was that? Was a unit here buried or something? I don't know. Maybe the Widow Mine? Man, really? We're gonna commit with this double drop? Yeah, I'm sorry, lads. You're gonna dead? Yeah, you're gonna be super dead. Really? The medevac just left. Okay. ByuN is kind of letting this slip. We've had a really, really solid advantage here for ByuN. But he was so busy building bases. Maybe he thinks he's playing SimCity or something, that he's giving Solar an out. He's giving him a entrance back into, yeah, this particular game. You can't even really tell anymore that Solar just did fall pretty significantly behind earlier. He's gonna test the waters. Apparently he's feeling brave enough to blow up a command center and some SCVs as well to boot. Where's the Terran army? Fungal growth again missed, but the planetary is already gone. Viper here gets blown to pieces. But 19 SCVs in a command center down the drain. I don't think that ByuN really enjoys that very much. Nope. +3 armor is going to be done very soon as well. We have about a half-minute window or so where Zerg will have +3 armor and Terran does not have +3 attack. Those Ultralisks are going to be temporarily more powerful than they're really meant to be. One nice thing, though, is that ByuN did sneak out this base in the far upper right. It's a little disjointed, because he now has the upper right base, but not the one below it. Solar did not quite notice it until he was already on the retreat again, so that makes this quite a playable state here for ByuN. We're going into the fusion core now. Good. Ghost personal cloaking is going to be done soon. Good. We're getting some mechanical upgrades here, especially for Widow Mines. That's also really good. All right. So, we're back to game number 1, effectively. Slightly different unit compositions for both players. More Widow Mines, less siege tanks. No lurkers, and instead we have Ultralisks. But across the board, we're once more playing a late game. There have been a few late games over the last year where ByuN gets carried away with command centers. And I have to point this out, because this is a real problem that Terran players sometimes run into, man. Like, anytime they get the minerals to build a command center, they add on a new command center. ByuN is guilty of this, where he will literally make north of like 25 to 30 command centers in a single game. And then be surprised when he doesn't have money. It's like the exact opposite of the paycheck to paycheck thing I mentioned earlier. The playstyle that Solar went for. It's the one where you only focus on the end game, but then you die. So now you died with $1 million in the bank. Congratulations. What's the point of that, you know? It's the polar opposite strat. StarCraft 2 really is a game of economies. Alright, well that's another Zerg army right there diving onto a CC. Only 6 SCVs die this time around. But ByuN does do this sometimes, where he really does overmake the amount of command centers that you really need. Liberator ranged coming up. Caduceus reactor on the back of this as well. I think the upper limit of command centers is probably about 20. On a map like this, about 20 is about good. It's still an extreme amount of resources invested into structures. But once you go above that point, there's just not enough real minerals on the map to justify it. Nidus Worms available yet again. I'm assuming we have Burrow as well. Yeah, Burrow is going to be pretty nice. Zork trying to just stream through whatever they can hit. So many SCVs are dying. If we look at the resources lost, I think we're going to see this number go up quite spectacularly over the next few minutes. Solar looks ready. He looks ready to drop Ultralisks. He looks calm and ready. But there's vomit on his, or corrosive bowels on his sweater, I don't know. Anyways. ByuN Spaghetti. Oh no. We're only at the beginning of this best of 5 series. The jokes are already getting worse. Should I apologize? Caduceus reactor is going to be done soon. That is the Medevac regen. It increases the regen by 2. Or it doubles the regen, which is pretty sweet. But that's an additional 8. Oh, we just lifted all command centers. He just lifted all command centers! No! ByuN! Oh no! ByuN just landed literally all command centers. I mean, the planetaries couldn't fly, so that's something. That's a mistake and a half right there. It's funny because you see that quite a lot on the ladder. Very rare, actually, at the pro level. He was quick to notice it, but that's a disaster if you don't quite notice it in time. Even if just like a half minute goes by, you just lose out on so much mining. Big misclick. The one big thing, though, here that is going much better for ByuN than the previous game ever did is the lack of creep spread. He's done an excellent job containing the creep early on, and you can see the results of that paying off right now. Solar doesn't care about creep, though. He's still just pushing through. Corrosive Bowels not connecting with everything, but he added on some Corruptors instead. Fungal Growth! Ooh, Fungal Growth to cut off the retreat. That's spicy. Also, roots a bunch of those Medevacs in place. ByuN going for a very Marauder-heavy army, mostly. Okay. Zergling numbers, still climbing up. Are we already at the glitched out number? Not yet. ByuN going for a little counterattack up north. Nidus Worm now in the back of the Terran's main base, but we have a hit squad of units waiting, and that one is not gonna finish. Likewise here for the hatchery. The hatchery also does not finish. ByuN is making more command centers. I'm telling you guys. There are games, and this is so weird, where ByuN has literally 20 orbital commands, but there are no minerals on the map. Like, what's the point? There's no mining. Like, yeah, you can disable the Fog of War, but if there's no mining, what are you gonna do with it? Scans are obviously really powerful, though. Not to be underestimated. It's going to be their main use case for now. Double planetary right now, by the way, up north. ByuN is done with getting his command centers exploded. Still, though. Yeah, there's a lot of Zork armies nearby. Caustic Spray is also quite powerful. Double planetary, mass repair with mules. Okay. Solar's just busting through, man. Zork reinforcements in the meantime have popped out of their cocoons. They're running on over in this direction yet again. ByuN desperately trying to keep his bases alive. He's setting up a new command center over here on the low ground as well. So we're currently at 9 orbitals, 3, soon to be 4 planetaries. And we already did lose a couple of them too. So we are already getting close to 20 command centers in total in one game. Likewise, ByuN, he's now playing with a Zerg who's been given a bunch of freedom. So Solar is going to be taking as many bases as possible. And this is where Solar is at his most dangerous. Yeah, you blink twice and he takes half the map. You blink twice again, he has like 3/4 of the map. Adrenal glands. Ooh, I did not quite notice it in time, but luckily here for Solar, he did. That is such a big oversight. Solar getting the Zergling attack speed upgrade. Any other upgrades that we're missing out on? Advanced ballistics, cloaking. We should be thinking about high-sec auto-tracking and building armor. The 2 upgrades inside of the engineering base, especially when your Zerg opponent is very keen on killing your command centers. It is an absolute no-brainer. Hatchery over here at the bottom is going to get destroyed. Zerg army over here also is going to get destroyed. Somehow that ghost lives. Yeah, and this is good here for ByuN. So this is about 40% attack speed for Zerglings. That's all you really need to know. It's a very, very important damage improvement. Okay, there's the high-sec auto tracking and building armor that I was mentioning. Not bad. 11 drones. And it looks to me that ByuN has indeed taken control now of the upper right-hand corner of the Ruby Rock. Knocking down the rocks over here too, apparently. It's going to allow him access to the middle. Would like to see him take an attempt at that base. There's again an infestor tunneled underground here. Okay, he notices it in time. Guess it must have just been barely within range right there of the missile turret. Solar is now trying to effectively smother his opponent in attention all over the map. If you just create enough distractions, at some point you might be able to blow up their armies. A lot of Zerglings are once more popping out of their little cocoons. They're so fast that my camera can't even follow it all behind. I mean, we have the Nidus Worm now planted down to prevent the command center from landing yet again. Orbital command here indeed does end up falling. The Zerg army is tunneling every which way yet again. And while ultimately the Nidus Worm here does fall, ooh, Zerg needs to be careful they don't get flanked too hard. Infestor is available, but Terran is backing up to the safety of both the Planetarian and also those Liberators. Fungal Growth only catches a few of the ghosts. Okay. Corruptors do now snatch a few units. It seems to me that ByuN did a little bit of all army hotkeying here to bring these two chunks of his army together. Solar thought he was getting sandwiched, but ultimately he didn't seem to mind. Again, Solar has done a really impressive job just breaking out of that position. Not that long ago, it kind of felt like he was up with his back against the wall, but look at him now. Breaking through this part of the map. Oh, those Banelings are having a grand old time. Zerglings are nibbling whatever they can. And now the third base of ByuN is really hard to secure yet again. ByuN's main attention has been on the upper right-hand corner, and this is a thing that Terrans run into in the late game. Their armies are just so split up to be able to defend all of the bases. Zerg can quickly regroup because of the advantage of creep and just the general movement speed of this army. But Terran has to have units in position at the right time. Look at how much supply here of the Terran army is just dedicated to defending. Widow Mines, Liberators. I mean, the Planetaries don't cost supply. Valiant attempt right here by ByuN to retake this base yet again. ByuN, though, has been reduced to just 42 workers. And while that may be the answer to the life, the universe, and everything else, his mining is going to suffer. Well, I say that. Obviously, we do have about a dozen orbital commands here. So, yeah. The peaks and valleys are still there. But at the very least, ByuN is competitive now as far as the income levels go. Still, though, Solar is sending more and more units to their deaths. His plan is to smother the Terran. I really love the late game edition of Corruptors, man. It's so nice to see all of those medevacs and Liberators get sniped. They create so much staying power here for ByuN. Reinforcing Terran units, though, did pop out of the barracks. They came out of the main base. They did EMP the Infestors. And it looks to me that despite the fact that ByuN lost that fight, he is going to be able to now capitalize and potentially kill one of the new bases of the Zerg. He's dancing on the perimeter of the Zerg creep. Fungal Growth not available. Corruptors push through yet again. Banelings are separating a lot of his army. ByuN forced to split, and it now means that, again, these Terran units get surrounded. ByuN has so much money, though. Like, it's weird. How is his supply so much lower than Solar's? I guess he's just not macroing very much at this point. He's been busy trying to not die. But sometimes the best thing you can do is give up on your current army and reproduce instead. He still has all of the 8 wrecks. He still has 3 factories. Yeah, all of this is normal. Terran army moves up to the high ground. because it's forced to. ByuN has 1,000 resources available to him, and he's not even close to maxing out. Looks to me, though, that he will still just barely hold this. And I think Solar is also wondering right now, like, hey, how in the world, like, you seem to be on the ropes. How in the world are you still alive now? How is this even making any sense? It's because ByuN just didn't spend his money there for a good bit. I guess ultimately it's creating a lot of confusion here on the side of the Zerg, so maybe not macroing is actually the pro gamer move, guys. Zerglings slip around the site. Medevacs, though, are now mostly empty, if not dead. Fungal growth is available yet again! Ooh! He does snatch a bunch of the Marines as they try to escape. SCVs will die here as well. Never mind. Somehow they live. Somehow they live! Wow. No, have a heart, Solar. No, Solar. Oh, no, Solar. Wow. He does have a heart. You'll have to see it. I don't know how they did it. They laugh in the face of danger, man. They don't care. Somehow they survived it. The command center, by the way, for what it's worth, did not, but they don't care. They've been... No! Solar! Solar, come on, bro. What? How are you... Okay, one of them died. Okay, both of them died. At least they get to go off to Terran Heaven together. It's gotta be worth something. Okay, now we're doing the same thing as we did in the previous game, but we never actually got to a proper stage where Solar wanted to have Brute Lords out. He's making the transition, though, to a Greater Spire once more. Zerg is distracting this Terran army in the main base. Yep, Planetary Fortress gone. A lot of expensive Terran structures here are falling. Ghost Academy is gone. Like, all of this is pricey, man. You can't really keep affording this. In the meantime, Solar did re-secure this base over here at the bottom. And this is going to be one of those games now where ByuN must be wondering, how in the world did this slip out of my fingers? Like, everything was on rails, and now suddenly Solar seems to be in full control once more. Cheeky little infestor here. Okay, well, it unburrowed a little too quick. It wanted to play the same game twice. Oh, man, that Ultra. Okay, it is going to get blasted. Zerglings, though, still available. Oh, Widow Mines here. Okay, do destroy a lot of the Zerg army. This is messy. This is bloody. But the cost efficiency here is way better than what Solar had in the previous game, which is ironic because he's playing Ultras this time around rather than Lurkers. Normally, Lurkers are the more cost-efficient style. But, yeah, in this game, well, he's been getting some really good fungals. And also, it has to be said, a bunch of mistakes on the side of ByuN. It has now forced the Terran to lose way more than what we would ordinarily see in a situation like this. Zerglings again, man. They slip through the cracks. Ay, ay, ay. And now the Brute Lord transition is coming up. So this seems to be what Solar is doing when he's running out of cash. Right? When he's done living paycheck to paycheck as the Zerg, we're going for the most sustainable army he can come up with. And that is Brute Lords. Now keep in mind, Brute Lords do have a separate set of upgrades. So they benefit from melee and carapace as well for the ground units with the little dudes that they throw on the ground. But the majority of the damage of the Brute Lord comes from the initial impact of the Brutelings that they throw, which is determined by the attack upgrades for the flying units. Of course, they also personally benefit from the flyer carapace, the flyer armor. And that is an upgrade that Solar hasn't gotten going yet at all. Those upgrades are expensive, and he simply can't afford it at this stage in the game. So he's going up against a near fully upgraded Terran army. So those Brute Lords, well, they may not deal as much damage as you would like at this point as the Zerg. This has also relieved a bunch of the pressure, though, here on ByuN for a while. But here we go. And even just having the Brutes kill some of the siege tanks, detonate some of the Widow Mines is a big deal. This is good, though, here for ByuN. I think this is about as good as it's ever going to be. He doesn't know about the lack of infestors. There's actually no infestors up on his high ground at all. ByuN, he's been playing against infestors for like 10-15 minutes now. So he decides to cautiously disengage. But I wonder if he could have kept pushing there for a little bit longer. Brute Lords again, though, throwing their children forward, forcing the siege tanks to deal some friendly fire. Beautiful game here. Yep, and as the rest of the Terran army disappears, the Ultraling Bane Force slips in, and Well, it gets rid of more and more of the tanks. Man, we need some fungals here, Solar. Like, one fungal growth here can be an absolute game changer. Guess he lost one too many infestors. 12 of them in total in this game. At the very least, ByuN is still respecting it. We have a few Vikings up in the air. Not a lot of anti-air here other than the Queens. Queens have +0 attack, so they have no upgrades at all. I love the addition of the Thor here. Oh. Has Solar just made a mistake not having infestors? That's the question. Solar is flat broke. Wait a second. This game slipped out of ByuN's hand, but I wonder if somehow, some way, he's bringing it back. Medevac here, used to boost the Thor a little bit closer. The Thor is target firing down the brutes. Still, though, a lot of Zerglings did pop out. Ghosts have to activate the cloaking. Widow Mines. Oh, good detonation. Siege tanks not quite within range, though, and that's still a bunch of SCVs going down. In the meantime, Solar is mining quite a lot still, but he's heavily oversaturated in the bases that he's got. The map, by the way, is nearly mined out. We are 32 minutes... Well, coming up on 32 minutes in this game. The map is very nearly dry. Fungal? Oh, that's a huge fungal. That's a massive fungal. Broodlord Infestor. It's a unit composition from the olden days. It's still good, but I think we needed that fungal a little bit sooner. Queen's not quite within range for a transfusion this time around. Looks like the Terran army, though, is going to be able to kill this base. Maybe just barely. Yes, it will ultimately end up going down. That's a lot of the mining on this map. It's actually one of the bases that Zerg probably is worried the Terran is going to take. Okay, Siege Tank ends up going down. Thor still lives somehow. ByuN doesn't want to push too deep onto creep. At this stage, the income advantage graph doesn't really do it justice because the overall mining of both players has been drastically reduced. Army size has been trending down over the last 10 minutes. ByuN, though, has a significantly larger force right now. And ultimately, in a military science fiction strategy game, more units is more better. Look, unit compositions are nice. Macro can be really sophisticated, but more stuff beats less stuff. GG. Next up, we find ourselves on Winter Madness. I decided to fast forward to minute 2. The players were having a little bit of a chat back and forth. Maybe discussing the weather. Maybe just asking about the wife and kids. I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. Well, they're pro gamers. What do they talk about? They're probably just mostly giggling. That's what I picture anyways. Triple hatch opener here for Solar. Pulling out a gas early. Just to be able to get that third hatchery done. This build is actually pretty bad if you end up going up against the double barracks start. Like the one that we saw in the previous game. If you do this particular opener against a 4 Reaper build, you're actually in some trouble. Winter Madness is actually kind of a funky map. I think a lot of Zerg players have been vetoing this one lately. We haven't been seeing it as much in ZVT. And it's mostly because of the third base, I would imagine. Because this third base is just the one that most Zerg players prefer having, but it's kind of awkward. There's some Liberator spots that are difficult to deal with, and the only alternative one is the one right over here. So if you end up getting it blocked early on, you have to go for the outside exposed base, which is just really close to the Terran's third base. I don't know. We haven't really seen this map as much anymore in ZVT lately, so it's going to be nice to get a bit of an update here. So far, though, the players have been very, very keen on playing macro games. They've been having a good time just macroing it up. Are we going to keep doing it? Keep in mind, and this is something that is easily forgotten about, but keep in mind that professional gamers are, in fact, human. So, just like most other humans out there, they require calories and, like, sleep to be able to get maximum energy. So, in order to play these, like, 2 30-minute-long macro games back-to-back, it's exhausting. So, I'm secretly hoping we're going to see more macro games just to see the players derp out, you know? Like, this was really not good here for Terran at all. But generally, the longer the series goes, the more derpy the players will become. It's also unlikely that this is the first series they're playing on the day that this particular best of 5 was played. So there's a good chance that they've already played about a dozen games before this particular series. Liberator is going to be flying across again. So we have a triple CC opener, and once more, we're going Hellions and then into a Liberator. Now there's more Hellions, and these might be able to achieve something. It's a supply block right now for ByuN, by the way. So this is the beginning of the derpening. The derpenage. The start of the derpening. It'll be the title of my biography. In the meantime, the Liberator is also sieged up. Now the drone barbecue has begun. Solar not anticipating an extra batch of Hellions? Because it doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? This is kind of like going for an Adept all-in in Zerg versus Protoss, and then right before you finish Glaives, you sacrifice like 5 Adepts. It's really stupid, but it kind of works because after losing the Hellions, Solar did not assume that we're going to be more Hellions. Because they're strength in numbers. So right now, we end up actually getting a pretty respectable number of workers here. I still don't really love this, but I think the additional queens here, the 2 queens that ended up going down, they do put ByuN in a pretty comfortable spot. Yeah, being able to play long tournament days is actually something that is really tricky. Gotta load up on the caffeine. It's actually something that players don't really discuss all too often. But the top tier competitors, I'm thinking of like the most successful tournament players of all time. Guys like Maru, Clem, Serral, right? Like they generally seem to be able to maintain the same energy levels for a really long time. I think, you know what's really killer? Is when you play like, say you're playing like a semifinals match, and then the other semifinals match has to be played still, and then there's like a, potentially even like a 3rd place match, and then you finally get to play your grand finals. There can be a 3-4 hour break if you're unlucky in between your series. So you have to be like full focus, and then what do you do in the meantime? Do you, like you can't go back to the, like, I don't know, if you're staying at a hotel or whatever, you can't really go back because it's, you might be called on at any given moment. You have to kind of maintain an energy level that's still respectable, and you can't really sleep, but it's tricky. Just being able to stay at the same level of focus is probably something that you either naturally have or you don't. And if you don't have it, GG. Quite literally, probably GG. It's definitely something you can practice, but it's not easy. Anyways, ByuN trying to make a push for it right now. Trying to see if he can potentially slow down the advancement here of the 5th hatchery of the Zerg. Not going to be done very easily, though. Hive coming up. This particular series, by the way, was played online. So, you know, it's a lot more chill. It's one of the reasons why a lot of the pro players do prefer playing online. Just being able to, I don't know, take like a 20-minute power nap or something is a big deal. A lot of tournaments, actually, at offline events will have like a dedicated players area. Like a little lounge type of thing where the players can, you know, chill. It doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but it's actually so important. Anyhow. Yeah, ByuN is starting to make some YOLO pushes here. Like, these attacks are more committed than they really need to be. He hasn't really lost anything too critical, but we're not really doing anything here. Like, we're fighting for a bit of space and a few creep tumors, I suppose, but it's very risky for what we're actually getting out here. Drilling claws coming up as well, though, for ByuN. We have... Okay, I thought for a second we went 9 barracks, but no, that was just barracks number 8 finishing up, right when I looked at the production tab. Solar is going to be pretty happy, though, defending against these pushes on creep. The creep over here on the left side of the map is a little bit lackluster. We have some Vipers coming up, 2-2. This time around, we're not forgetting about Adrenal Glands. He wants to shove, though, this army away. There's no medevac nearby anymore, and we do have some banelings available. This is going to be messy, it's going to be bloody, but it will all get cleaned up. In the meantime, we have 2 medevacs trying to sneak at the top of the map. Trying to head for the Zerg's main base, but this is headed to no man's land. We're not doing anything with this. Push in the middle of the map here too, but Winter Madness is quite wide open. Spore Crawler here within range. I always like it when we see the other Spore Crawler from the main base. If we had one. Oh, we never made one. Anyways, I always like it when it's sent on over to the low ground there to intercept any of those types of plays. 3-3 coming up. Push as well to the left. Oh, and this is a nice attack. This is a nice attack. ByuN is going to be able to clean up so much. There's no Banelings in the mix. Where did the Banelings go? At the very least, the Widow Mines there were helping out the Zerg for a moment, so that's nice, but still not going to be enough to really get this Terran army off of his front door. And without Banelings, this is just such a strong army. A couple Banelings do become available. Most of the Terran units got picked up, and they snuck on out of there. This game is a bit of a disaster here for Solar now. Yeah, and I really feel like this is the fatigue kicking in. This game is far less crisp than game number 1 in this best of 5. Hatchery here, all the way at the 12 o'clock position. Did get denied as well. Viper wants to go for the Parabomb, knows that he's exposed, decides to back up. Yeah, another thing actually with offline tournaments is the fact that, like, you also have to usually travel for it, right? It's another thing that's quite tricky. Like, not only are you probably kind of jet-lagged and you have to sleep in, you know, a different place. Oftentimes, you're also playing at a weird time. Most pro gamers will practice at home around the same time every day, right? Because we're humans and creatures of habit, ultimately. Being able to suddenly play at an entirely different time is very different. Anyways, Widow Mines pushing through here yet again. I feel like the Widow Mines are dealing about as much damage to the Terran army as they are to the Zerg in this game, man. Yeah, I mean, if the Widow Mines are traitors, then Solar can push this away. Small little hit squad still available in the main, but the medevac is now gone, and I've got a feeling that unless they can still get the Lurker dead, I mean, they might be able to get the Lurker dead. Nope. That army indeed is toast. I would like to have a counter as to how much damage the Widow Mines have done to the Terran units and to the Zerg units. We did see quite a few of the Zerg troops get blown to pieces too, but I feel like across the board, they have betrayed ByuN. And even though Solar has been up with his back against the wall now for a while, I mean, we've seen this before in the series. Yep, it is time for ByuN to continue pushing through. Sitting back here and making 1,000,001 command centers is nice. Oh, I think we can pop it again. Yeah, we can pop it again. Cancel, immediate rebuild. Medevac drop continues in the main base. Alright, that medevac will fall. And that Terran army, likewise, is also gonna bite the dust. But they've already achieved what they came for. ByuN going for a couple more bases, adding on command centers, but at a slower rate than what he did in the previous game. Heads off though to Solar. I feel like Solar really has been in a rough spot for most of this game, but he's actually okay. I don't think he's comfortable. He's got very little creep compared to especially game number 1 in this series, but his income levels are still fine. The amount of mining that he's getting here is still really solid. Bunch of the creep tumors over here on the low ground will get cleaned up. That's nice. Just pushing that back is already a big deal. Second starport coming up. Fusion core added into the mix. We're going building armor. We should probably get the high-sec auto tracking then as well. Usually you kind of get those both at the same time. Ooh, now that Widow Mine was sweet. ByuN desperately trying to close out this game to try and make sure that it does not go the distance. But this game is starting to have all the characteristics of another game that's gonna run long. We're not really in a position where ByuN can just push for the win. Solar is maxed out and not really able to attack. Are we just gonna keep playing macro games? Is that what we're gonna do? Yep. Triple command center starts up here for ByuN. He's reading this all correctly. Indeed, the best choice for him is to continue playing the macro game too. But it does mean that the margin for error is going to be a lot more... Well, it's going to be a lot more likely now. Any mistake at this point can be game-ending. We're playing with fire. All right. Ghost numbers, though, are slowly growing. How many do we have at this point? Yeah, we have 11. That's actually pretty sweet. Ooh, correction, we had 11. Yeah, not the end of the world. Hatchery in the far upper right. Probably going to be beaten to death. No stimpak available for the ghosts, but they still get a pretty good hit in. Looks like the Zerg army has been all army hotkeyed all the way up north. That hatchery is already gone. Nidus Worm over here in the far bottom left. Looks like we're going to try and sneak out a hatchery here too. Not the one adjacent to it. Terran, by the way, has now taken this base. He's going to build a sensor tower, so he will get a little blip on the radar about that particular expansion if the sensor tower indeed finishes. Lurkers, though, are available right now here for Solar. He's going to be sneaking a couple around the site. I mean, this is nice. We do need to burrow them. He does burrow them. Hatchery, still not spotted. This is kind of awkward now. I don't think the Terran units are going to be able to win that particular engagement, but there's so many other things happening out on the map. There's so many different things to take care of. New command center indeed gets added on, but Solar now is starting to take control of the battlefield once more. Yeah, he got a little bit of help from the Widow Mines. That's surely very nice. But Solar really is a very resilient Zerg. So many Zergs just sort of roll over and die when they deal with that much pressure that ByuN is constantly throwing at them. But yeah, Solar once more trying his best to get back into this. And I think he's fine. I think he's totally fine here. He doesn't have a lot of lurkers yet. But I mean, his upgrades are looking spicy. He did get adrenal glands early this time around. And he's hunting command centers again. Snipey's over here. Nice, but the units do slip away. In the meantime, though, while Terran is distracted on the left side of the battlefield, we do see the Zerg engaging as well on the right. Burrowed Zergling there, preventing that base from landing. We have Infestors sharking around the map once more, ready to throw in the fungal growth. SCVs are dying. Oh, dude. Solar is a bit of a gamer here. Well, this is something we haven't had yet in this particular series. We've had Nidus Worms all over the map, but where are the tactical nukes? Well, we're going to be getting some here in a moment, it seems, unless ByuN is just making them for the show. Looks like the hatchery is not going to be happening here in the far bottom left. Nidus Worm inside of the main base now. Even though there's 3 missile turrets available, there's still enough space, apparently, to just jam one of those in there. Hatchery did die in the far bottom left, but I mean, that one really was just mostly to trigger the Terran. Not that important. What is inside of this? It's just 2 lurkers from earlier. It's not gonna happen, though, with that many liberators up in the air. You came to the wrong neighborhood, boss! Don't do it. Solar did not do it. Instead, he's gonna try and, you know, do the same thing over here on the low ground. Again, as a lot of supply of the Terran is dedicated now to defending the main base in the third, we are once more seeing the majority of the Zerg army flood here in the bottom left. It is a 1-to-1 copy to what we saw in the previous game. There's very little inside of the network, but ByuN does not know. While the planetary over here blows up, we already did see a hatchery die in the upper right, but I think this is still so nice for Solar, who is just working his magic today, man. Like, even though he lost that previous game, I'm impressed that he even managed to get back into a playable spot in the first place. Honestly, he kind of threw it at the end. This game is similar. I'm hoping for his sake that he's not going to be throwing this one. But look, there's basically nothing inside of the network. But look at the amount of supply that ByuN is forced to dedicate to defending. It's just your classic distraction strat. There's very little that Zerg actually has to do to occupy like 20 supply of the Terran here. Hatchery in the bottom left is going to get denied yet again. Zerg pushing through, blowing up this planetary would actually be kind of sick. I don't think there's quite enough Terran to really comfortably defend this. Nope, if the Banelings are in the right spot, At the very least, going to be a lot of dead SCVs. Nice little bit of micro there by ByuN, bringing it into the CC and ultimately saving it with the mass repair. That's cute. 58 SCVs have died now in this game. 29 drones in total. The Zergling numbers are going through the roof, but Solar can keep doing this all day. And I'm assuming we'll see a Greater Spire morph in here soon. If the previous games are anything to go off of, you could make the argument that the Greater Spire was kind of the thing that threw Solar the game in the previous match. I think it was mostly the lack of infestors later on. This is a good fight though here for ByuN. Yep. ByuN's gonna be able to push through this. Oh, big fungals! Huge fungals! Oi, 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 the one infestor here coming in from the left. I didn't notice it. ByuN did not notice it either. Okay. The hatchery already did die, though. And a lot of expensive Zerg units also did bite the dust. ByuN is really gonna be happy about the... Okay, I was gonna say, he should be happy about the Caduceus reactor research, but he never got it. Nope, no Caduceus reactor research here for ByuN, so that means that the medevac energy is not regenerating as quickly as he would like. 2 bases taken again, by the way, by Solar. He's going for the one in the far upper right, and then also the one over here on the left once more. And ByuN is starting to fall apart. Yeah, it's an oversight here. I would say Caduceus reactor is not critical. There's the Greater Spire. But it is important to get. Look at the medevacs, they're empty. Because of it, any Stimpack is just far more costly. When you're dedicating more and more of your production time into starports to Liberators as well. I mean, we have 14 of those bad boys. You just don't really, have a lot of supply available for medevacs anymore. ByuN's actually also kind of broke here as far as the gas goes. He's got a lot of minerals. Well, he's trying to take some more refineries over here on the right side of the map. Okay. The base will live for now, and maybe the gases will mine. I guess that's one way to block an expansion here. Fair enough. There's also a Zergling burrowed underneath. Solar's going to try and capitalize, or ByuN rather is going to try and capitalize on forcing this army back in the upper right. That's the 2 lurkers, by the way, from earlier. He hasn't made some in a while, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like he is going to be able to kill the base, though, and that's pretty sweet. Nidus Worm towards the bottom left. That's where I think these drones are headed through the network now. And indeed, the hatchery will die. As soon as the Nidus Worm is available here, we'll probably unload. Little Ultra, or Hydraling Bane, rather, here in the middle of the map. The Infestor with the golden fungals from earlier is still set up over there. Banelings do not quite, get caught in time. Suddenly the Terran army is on the run again, but they are backing up to the safety of all of those liberation zones. Tactical nuke, by the way, forgotten about. Caduceus reactor, forgotten about. ByuN has to be careful here that he does not start tunnel visioning with this army alone. Like, he needs to be multitasking. He's kind of forgetting about controlling the map now, though. Even though he's got this upper right-hand corner of the map taken quite nicely, the bottom left has been left by itself. And this is so much mining now that Solar is going to be able to get. Yeah, sure, ByuN is sniping a base here, he's sniping a hatch there. But the real mining for the Zerg is now happening in the section of the map that ByuN seems to have forgotten about. I love the addition of some Corruptors here. Maybe it's going to be for Brute Lords, but even just for killing Liberators is going to be powerful. Too much creep here for ByuN to really continue carving a path, I would imagine. The hero Infestor from earlier does still shark around. Okay, we do have a Liberator, though. ByuN did not fully forget about it, so that's good. He now knows about this base being taken over here. The Infestor once more wants to get a golden fungal. Keep in mind, they can also prevent the medevacs from retreating. Corruptors available here, and they're going to be slowing down the amount of Liberators up in the air. And keep in mind, we got so many libs. The numbers are dropping fast. It's 2 medevacs as well, man. Ooh. Yeah, ByuN doesn't have any gas. He's got minerals for days, but Marines, they're not going to cut it. We need to take this Vespian gas geyser over here. We need to mine this one out. I think this is when the exhaustion really starts to kick in. This gas over here also not fully saturated. It's something ByuN could have fixed a while ago, but he was so busy trying to just survive over here in the upper right and kill as much as possible that for the last few minutes, he kind of has not been refining his macro very much. Solar doing a much better job in that department. Arguably, though, it's easier for the Zerg to do so than for the Terran. Corruptors do swap in, and once more, that's a whole lot of damage. They would have liked to do some caustic spraying onto the planetary fortress here, but Solar is happy just denying bases. Base in the upper right, taken once more. Liberator here in the bottom left, also taken out once more. Difficult game to call, though, here for, I think, especially Solar. Like, this game has been so back and forth that he has no idea how much Terran there actually still is available. Like, we can see the supply count, we can see the mineral count. The players obviously don't have access to that information. And ByuN is making his army look way bigger than it actually is. Actually, I say that. His army is big. It's just spread out all over the map in little clumps, little pieces. Ooh, and that could be disastrous. That's a lot of Marines here that will ultimately die. Zerg quickly remaxing once more. Widow Mines! Widow Mines! Ooh, a literal minefield right over here on the low ground. ByuN really needs to try and get a new base going, man. Like, he is running out of cash. He's got some income for the time being. But look, this is the problem. Solar has been heavily outmining him by like roughly 1,700 or so resources per minute more. That adds up so quickly over the course of a game that the cost inefficiency here of this Zerg army is almost irrelevant. Yeah, he's been taking some pretty horrendous trades, but it doesn't really matter too much. Tactical nuke, we didn't forget about it. Woo! There we go. Rejoice. Radiation. Radiation and wait a second. Careful, lads. Okay, Otto the Overlord wanted to go in. Both of those words start with the letter R. Coincidence? Yeah, actually, yeah, I think probably it. Yeah, no, probably coincidence. Okay, this was a meat grinder and a half right over here, though. It did force the Zerg to disengage for a little while. A lot of damage here actually done to the Zerg with the army that ByuN currently has. He still has over 100 Terran army supply, which is massive. His economy is fizzling out, but it's not like Solar is particularly a trader. Solar also really doesn't have a ton of cash. EMP right there onto the Infestor is real good. That is the end for that Infestor. Zerglings in the meantime, though, have been killing whatever they can right over here. New medevacs are available as the Broodlord transition starts up. That was the beginning of the end in the previous game. Solar, though, probably considers that just a gigantic misplay somehow. Now he kind of needs some more Vespian himself. Big Zergling run-bys, man. These Zerglings are so powerful. Fully upgraded links do destroy Terran structures. Where's the Broodlords? Okay, ByuN can't really afford Thors very easily in this game. He would probably like to make some. Corruptors here nibbling away at the libs once more. Lingbane Hydra trying to break through. Siege tank not quite gonna survive. Medevacs have to retreat once again. And there's the Broodlords up in the air together with the Corruptors, just providing so much additional APM here for ByuN. And he can't quite spare it all. When you're trying to split against Banelings, yeah, something is gonna give. And while he ultimately defended against the Brutes here reasonably well, now the Banelings connected with the Terran army. Incredible game here by Solar, man. He really was down and out not that long ago, but he has been playing the late game incredibly well. This is ByuN's Hail Mary here. He needs money, and he needs it now. So that's why we're dropping about a dozen mules to try and get some more resources going. But, I mean, it is in an entirely exposed base. Really nothing protecting it at all. A lot of the Terran units here will end up dying. We have a lot of links as well still on the right side of the map too, ready to jump through. ByuN is now busy all army hotkeying on over towards the bottom left. Solar's supply count is just so much bigger. Do it again. Do it again. One little Bruteling trying its absolute best, but GG gets cold. There's no way out of this game. Solar grabs another win. Okay, and that will take us to the map White Rabbit. Solar maintaining a ridiculous energy level here, honestly, just throughout the game. White Rabbit it is. We have the dance between the early game Zerg units and the Reaper once more. Triple command center, though. Sure, maybe we're tired. But that doesn't mean we don't play triple CC 111. That doesn't mean we don't open up triple hatchery either. Starport on the back it is. Interestingly enough, though, even though this is, like, again, the setup for a reasonable macro game, it doesn't really have to be. And this is the style that both players will be most comfortable with. So even though if you're new to the game, it may be kind of exhausting to play quick 3 bases. These guys have done that literally thousands of times. Tens of thousands of times. Yeah. So this will be the style that is kind of like their bread and butter. Nice little snipe right over there. He's got 2 links with the Reaper and then also a creep tumor, which is not... That's really not bad at all. This Reaper can indeed go home. He knows that link speed will be done soon, so he gets to live to fight another day. He's brought his friends to the party now. Okay. Banshee indeed coming up. Are we gonna go Cloaking Field as well, ByuN? Judging by the fact we have 2 in gas. Yeah, we are gonna get it. Okay. Should probably be saturating it fully anyways. Would have been able to start up the upgrade ever so slightly quicker. You can actually get the Cloaking Field research done in precisely like 2 Banshee build cycles. And it takes 2 Banshees to one-shot a drone. So it's kind of perfect. There's the lair coming up. Spore Crawler in the corner now, because we've been dealing with a lot of aggression. Oh, he faked? Wait, did he just fake Stimpack? It is going to be Stimpack in the end, though. Like, it has to be Stimpack now. Alright. We're faking Stimpack only to then go Stimpack. You love to see it. Obviously, though, this may very well throw Solar off a little bit. He could, for example, assume that this could be like a Marauder attack or something along those lines. It's not the case. We're once more just building a whole lot of Hellions. And we're once more going to try and right-click them into a mineral line. Yeah, I don't like this dance here for Terran at all. White Rabbit in general is a pretty easy map to defend against Hellions on. Now, we do have a bit of oversight here, actually, from Solar. There should be an Overlord here in this area of the map. It's one of the first things that usually goes when fatigue hits. But this is basically like... all the maps, right, in StarCraft 2, they have different ways that the Hellions will bounce around between the harassable locations. And this map has these, like, very long... driving paths over here for those Reapers. They just can't bounce in between the bases nearly as quickly as on some other maps. What about the Cloaked Banshees now? We did have Spore Crawlers. They've already been repositioned, it seemed. Yeah, they've been reseated over here in the middle of the mineral line. That's good. Solar apparently going back to his tried and true strategy that he started this particular best of 5 off with. That was like a half-hour-long game, by the way, game number 1. Actually, I think all the games in this best of 5 so far have been a half-hour long. Oh, no. Anyhow, yeah, we're once more going 1-1 with Missile and then straight into the Hydra Den. Straight Hydra openers are very interesting. Armory on the back of the Terran's mineral line, and that should allow us to go straight into 2-2. We have a second factory out front, and you know what that means? That means we're going to be adding on a 4th command center here very soon. This is not going to be an Aetrex from ByuN. We are once more ready to play the macro game, more than likely. He cancels the reactor and goes into a siege tank follow-up instead. Fair enough. Combat shields coming up. Yeah. They're once more setting up for a macro game. I can't believe this. It's actually kind of crazy to me. They're just ready to play another deep game. Alright. Now, this is a pretty nice map, though, for Terran, usually. No siege tank to really have a backbone in this particular army. Yeah, this is where those Hydras are kind of scary, though. They do deal a lot of damage. 1-1 is going to be done really soon. Okay, but unlike Old Republic, which was game number 1 in this best of 5, he does end up sniping the hatchery here. Remember the fight all the way up north on Old Republic in game number 1? ByuN tried to get the 5th base over and over and over again. Now he just got it. He just drove in with the units, ran in over here with the Marines, got the job done. +2 armor starts up here for ByuN. Really needs to start up +2 attack as well. Let's see. Lurker den again. Yeah, this is a lot of Marines sleeping on the job, man. ByuN losing a few more units here than he absolutely needs to. That makes up for the loss, I think, of that hatchery quite nicely. Now, this is juicy. Look at that. This is the Terran dream. Killing like 20 creep tumors with 1 scan. That's hot right there, okay? If you listen closely, you can hear the Terran player salivating right there. Double Lurker Den. Mistake or by design? You can get both upgrades at the same time. It actually does give you a really powerful timing attack. But I think he was just kind of late on the first one, and then he figured I'll just add another one into the mix. There's the ranged upgrade, though, for the Lurker Den coming up. The upgrades are just about as long to research, so this doesn't really work. Now, it must be a mistake because of it. But now if you drop the main base and you kill the Lurker Den, you think there's not going to be Lurkers anymore, but there will still be Lurkers. Yeah. He's getting the Hydra dash upgrade. ByuN still pushing through. Snipe in the middle. Snipe in the middle. Nope, not gonna happen, it seems. The banelings are nearby. Careful, Widowmine. Whew. Widowmine almost dealing a lot of friendly fire yet again. ByuN forced to do a little bit of micro in both different sections of the map. This Lurker Den indeed was a duplicate. Pretty expensive structure, by the way. 2 additional starports added into the mix, so that probably means we're not going ghosts. Instead, we're going double starport in the back? I mean, I feel like whenever I see this, I immediately assume we're going to add more tech labs to it. +2 attack, by the way, here for the infantry units extremely late. He is going armor right now. Whenever I see starports like this, I think battle cruisers, but not the case. No way. Although I would like to. Nah, it's not going to happen. We would always go +1 flyer upgrades at this point in time. This will probably just be for libs. Oof. Yeah. You need liberators in this stage. Like, you just cannot really get the job done anymore with Marine Marauder medevac. Many Terran players believe in that. They believe in the strength of the Marine Marauder medevac army. But you need something else at some point. There's the Adrenal Glands finishing up, though. We indeed do get the secondary upgrade in the Lurker Den. In one of the 2 Lurker Dens. Banelings here. Trying to get tapped down before they connect, but the best thing to do is pick up and get on out of there. Okay, so when do the Lurkers arrive? That's the question, because there will be a moment where I think those Lurkers can actually get some damage done. There's 6 of them in total. The Liberator count is growing pretty rapidly now, though. We have 4 of them on the production tab at a time. These Liberators apparently are coming out of starports without add-ons. Command Center taken over here in the middle of the map. Medevac drop in the far bottom right. Ooh, careful. You decided to unload right on top of a bunch of banelings. Now the Lurkers have arrived in a pretty annoying spot for Terran to break. This is where the Liberators or the Ghosts are a necessity. Looks like some of the Terran units here, though, are once more forgotten about. Some of the Queens also forgotten about for just a moment, as the players are desperately trying to keep it together over here with this particular fight. Okay. Zerk going for a whole lot of banelings now. There is a planetary fortress, a fresh one over here in the middle of the map. And this is so obnoxious, right, for Zerk to execute. Like, Terran just really dislike playing against this type of style. ByuN's thinking about stimming in. Yeah, you gotta be real careful, dude. You could see him think, right? You could have the Marines right there. They're like, should I just do it? Should I just commit? Don't do it. Don't do it. Ooh. Oh, no. Zerk is gonna get the surround. Wait a second. You need to pick up and get on out of there. You can't really stay in there. Banelings are getting close as well. Planetary Fortress dies here. Zerk suddenly collapsing on top of this from multiple angles. And now suddenly, the lurkers are in, like, the intersection, right? Like, this is the middle ground. Oh, no. ByuN's falling apart. This is the middle ground where all of the Terran units meet. With the lurkers positioned right over here, it means that the Zerk can take a right and just go after the mineral line here on the low ground. There's a couple of Liberators up in the main base trying to keep it all together, but this is not what ByuN was hoping for. Beautiful movement here by Solar. Oh my god, we commit, we commit, we commit, we break it, but that's already so much damage done here by the Zerk in the meantime. I think ByuN indeed made the right call getting out of that position, but now the Liberator numbers are no longer where they need to be, and Solar can just keep flooding the map with more and more units. He is near maxed out, that he's got like 5,000 resources still available to spend. Command Center on the low ground, no longer in a position where you can really fight it. A lot of missed movement here by ByuN. He may be known as Micro Jackson, but in this particular series, it is going to be Solar, our Zerk player, who reigns supreme in an extremely long match of Zerk versus Terran. Like, this is one of your casual 2-hour-long best of fives, it seems. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of setup time as well in between the games. You have, like, the pre-game vetoing as well. Incredible series, though. Really impressed by Solar, especially. I really... Look, I know Solar has been consistently one of the very best players on the planet for, like, a decade now. But I feel like it's one of those names that never really comes up too often. Like, nobody really talks about Solar all too much. It's kind of like Cure. Cure has been consistently one of the very best players. Kind of like Classic. Classic has been consistently one of the very best players, but, like, they're consistently top 10, but nobody really talks about them. Phenomenal series, though, by Solar. Certainly a deserved win. GG.